Welcome to Well Read, a program about a little bit of this and a little bit of that at your Ames Public Library. And here we are at the new renewed location at 515 Douglas, where we've tested some of our assumptions and you've walked in, we've welcomed you with open hands and open minds to help you throughout the day finding your library information. And in doing so, we have been thinking about what has been working and what hasn't been working with our ideas that we had with our little acronym called FUN, being flexible, untethered, and nimble. And with me today to help talk about this is Mary Logsdon, my counterpart upstairs in the Adult Services area, the Adult Services Manager. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you.
And our Library Director, Lynne Carey. So welcome, and let's get started with our program here. And typically what I do is I ask our guests to tell us a little bit about ourselves and yourself. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we know all of you. The public probably knows you quite well because you're our public face out in our community about the library. But is there anything that you would like to tell our public that might be interesting that they wouldn't have known before?
The pressure's on.
I know. Oh, do you want to go first, or shall I?
I should say something about you, and you could say something.
Oh, there we go. Now, what would you say about Mary, Lynne?
Oh, I'm putting her on the spot. Mary is a nanny now. She is a grandma.
That's right.
This is true.
Yes,
and
yes.
she's been bringing her grandson to the library on a regular basis.
Yes, yeah. So it's been wonderful well, thank you for sharing that. It's been wonderful to see the library, to have a reason to be down here in your territory, Jerry, and just to see how thoughtfully you've designed this space. And I think, okay, I could raise a grandchild in this community, in this space. So yeah, so that's really been a nice thing that's happened to me.
And so we do have lots of grandparents that use the space, which is a thought process that, you know, even as a grandma, you know, we see lots of grandmas bringing them in and that are doing that taking care of our children and their family members. And in fact, we also had a program that was sponsored by grandmothers as well. That we're going to be starting that back up in midwinter sometime. So that's a neat program to have where families can come in, grandmas can come in and talk about how it is to be a grandma or grandfather. We didn't have any grandpas that came along, but grandpas are welcome as well. But yes, I see those children that are growing, and even in the few months that he's been alive, he's grown tremendously and has interacted with our story times.
Yeah.
So can you tell something about Lynne?
Something that people don't know about Lynne.
People may not know.
I'm such an open book.
Yeah. Oh, what a pun.
I know. I'll help you.
Okay.
I'll say we don't have any programs for cats.
You know, I was thinking about Farrell, and I was trying to remember how
true.
old is Farrell, and yes, do you want to give us an update on how your cat
the
care
library
is going?
cat.
Yeah.
On the library cat, yes. We should probably give some background on Farrell.
Yes, during the very cold winter of the major construction part of this beautiful building, there was a cat that was living in the tunnels underneath the building, and it's a very long story, so I'll make it a little bit shorter. He ended up coming home to live with me. He was starving to death. It was terrible. He was in awful shape, and I don't think he really wants to come back to the library. It wasn't the best experience for him, but it's been wonderful to be a cat lover, and actually I'd never had a cat before because I'm allergic, but he's a perfect cat because he turned out to be hypoallergenic, and I learned that by getting books at the library. So before I took him home, I came to the library. I went out like so many new pet owners with a stack of books like this. Practically every cat book that we have here went to my house one day or another. And I read up about how to take care of a cat. And I think he's very, very happy with the information I gleaned from those books.
From what I've seen of him, yes, he's very, because is he skinny anymore? Is he starving?
He's very healthy.
Yes, very healthy.
Very healthy. And some people would say maybe a little bit spoiled.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
so we have a grandchild and a kitty that are are probably equally spoiled in each person's home, right?
Well, in the way that you can never give a grandchild too much love, apparently.
You can't give a cat
I can
too
apply
much love
that
either.
to my cat.
Yeah, that's true. And many people do that,
I
don't
think they do, and as well they should.
As well they should. Well, let's get back to the information that I would like to share. Now, we have an annual report that's coming out, and that fun acronym, being flexible and tethered and nimble, and using the building space as we designed. We've had lots of different programs in the library, lots of big programs and lots of smaller programs too. So were there any programs, Mary, that just kind of come to your mind that you would like to highlight from 2014, 2015?
From the last year, well, we've had some really wonderful opportunities to work with partners throughout the last months, and we're continuing to do so. We had some really fabulous programs last May that stand out. Like as a kickoff to summer, we had an author program here, a local author, Suzanne Kelly, who had published her a book about her experiences teaching students at Meeker School over a course of 10 years, and the research that they did in order to connect in a really meaningful way with survivors of a downed plane during World War II. So it's a fabulous story. The book is on our shelves, Reaching Beyond the Waves. That was really a wonderful program because it was a local author with a compelling story, and it brought people into the library's auditorium, standing room only. It was the first time that the room was filled to capacity. And people from all walks of life, all ages. It was really a reunion of her students as well as a book release party. It was really a very much of a party atmosphere. And so that was really special. And then that evening, we were able to host a live performance that was put on through a partnership with the India Cultural Association. And that was really lovely too, because it showed us another way that the auditorium could be used in a kind of a theatrical setting. And again, it showed that we're still open very much to working with partners and to kind of stretch what we're capable of doing. We don't yet know exactly what we're capable of doing because the building is new, the equipment is new. And so those two programs happened to occur on the same day in May, and it just it popped into my mind as, those programs then really stood out and were special.
And a lot of people came in the auditorium, which I know when I set it up or I use it, and I make the curtains come down magically and the projector screen come down magically. It's like a ooh and ah, and I know we've had a lot of oohs and ahs with the technology that we have in the auditorium and the versatility, because now we can go from just in one day, obviously. You went from having this standing room only visiting author program to a theater performance. And, could we have done that in the other building?
Not so well. I mean, I think we would have tried.
Yes, we always have been fun and flexible.
That's right. We would have done our very best, but it would not have been the same experience. We have the fabulous windows all along Douglas, and so people, as they pass, there's a sense of being partly outside and inside. It's just a warm and wonderful room. I think it was designed very, very well. It's a really great community space.
And you've also used the plaza for several programs too.
I have. Recently we, as a part of Music Walk, we actually had the Ames Choral Society conduct a sing-along on the plaza, which I think we should do daily actually. But singing on the plaza, I think we should coin that phrase as a new series.
A new thing.
Right here, just developed right now.
I went out at that time, and everybody wanted to sing. I mean, we were all,
lovely idea.
The people that were coming into the library and the people that were leaving the library, all were singing right along with them. Singing is a wonderful thing to do.
It is, and outdoors
it makes everyone
great.
happy.
Yeah.
We had a bicycle repair program. We worked with the Ames Bicycle Coalition and offered some bicycle, tuning up your bicycle out on the plaza. Yeah, we've done a lot of different things.
And we've done, the All Species One Earth All Species parade, and that gathering has been out there. And I know the youth services area has used the auditorium in many ways. Our summer programming was done, so with different stations, and we've done our paid performers that come in, and it's been sitting room only for our little kids. Not so much standing room only.
You also had an incredible program last
Yes,
spring.
we did, and we will be having that again this spring in April. So, I assume you're meeting Step Into Storybooks, and Step Into Storybooks, which kind of leads really nicely into the upstairs being this very quiet entity to the downstairs being a really fun, wonderful, not a shushing library at all, where the children and the teens and the parents all can be themselves in the area. Which I'm politely saying it can be noisy down here, and it can be very, very quiet upstairs. So our Step Into Storybooks is a wonderful, again, a collaborative program that we have here at the library. And we get lots of different groups that are involved, just as we do with our adult services department. So collaboration is should be part of our acronym too, should be at FUNC.
It just doesn't have the same ring
No, it
to
doesn't.
it.
Fun is so much better.
Wait, and you mentioned testing our assumptions in your introduction, and I think for me, Step Into Storybooks was a big test, because we knew that the program has existed for some time and draws a lot of people.
Right.
And so I think we were prepared, but a little bit surprised at exactly how many people we could have come through our doors in 3 hours.
It was 2,719.
Yes.
Not that I memorized that number or not.
And that was in addition to above and beyond what we typily would see at that time
in
on
the
a
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And it was lively and felt busy and full, but it didn't feel overwhelming.
Well, and I went up several times during the course of the very busy, fun morning that was both upstairs and downstairs, but we kept to the old portion of the building. And but then I walked over to the adult services area, and it was very quiet. I went from this craziness to hammering and blocks falling down and children crying to and laughing. And laughing, thank you. And laughing to this wonderful quietness. And the people that were over in the adult services area were doing their work, working on the computers and doing their business. And so, I'm not really a statistics kind of person, but I just wanted to share that, last year we had almost 28,000 people, just a little over 28,000 people just for programming. For our, it looks to be like we had, maybe, this is why I'm not a circulation person, over 1,000 programs during the course of the year, including our outreach programs, not just in the library. And so you take about 600 of the outreach programs out of that, and you have what we had here. So we've been a busy campers here.
And we were closed for a month.
Yes, that's true
And we
too.
were also getting used to the building and didn't start our programming till a little bit later. So those are
awesome
outstanding numbers.
Yes. So let's kind of move to the collection a little bit, because we've added some materials as well as some special features that are off or downloadable. So would you like to speak to that, Mary?
Sure. Well, you mentioned downloadable. So we are continuing to increase our collection of downloadable ebooks and audiobooks, and I've noticed that the circulation statistics shows the demand is continuing to be there. I mean, people are really discovering that reading an ebook or listening to an e-audio book is a nice it's compatible with their other reading interests. I mean, they're continuing to check out print materials in huge numbers here in Ames, but I think people are really enjoying having choices for their reading materials. And so, the downloadables were continuing to increase. In terms of extra materials, we were able to purchase because of the generosity of opening day collection funds that we had and the additional space that was designed. We were able to develop a Spanish language collection. So we have a nice collection of contemporary fiction, primarily in Spanish, and that collection seems to be getting some good readership, so we're happy about that. we developed in a bigger way a collection of modern scholar and great courses like lifelong learning audio and video series, which it's been fascinating to see the hunger for that. I mean, people just stop and are just delighted, and those are checking out in a really, really significant way. And I actually, that surprised me. I mean, it's a nice surprise. So I feel as though we are meeting a need there for adult learning and self-study in a nice new way. The other thing that we're doing is we're just able to display materials much more beautifully here in the new space, and so we have a whole corridor of display cubes as you enter the second story space. And so we're really working hard to bring monthly materials right up in front, so folks are, you know, kind of eager to see, okay, what's on display this month, you know, what's happening, and those kinds of books seem to be checking out at a really high rate. And so we're pretty excited about that.
And so again, downstairs in the children's area, we have those wonderful cubes as well, and they're pretty hot little places for people to come in and pick up. And we've even gotten, so we're moving those cubes around. We have some space that we've been trying out and experimenting with. Our nonfiction, we've added a lot to our juvenile nonfiction and kind of revitalize that group. So with some of that opening day collection money. So again, statistics, you have something to add?
Well, yes, in terms of testing our assumptions, I appreciate Mary mentioning those blocks. They've been so effective. When we moved in, we thought, oh, we'll put our book club collection out there because we have these wonderful books that we buy multiple copies so that book clubs can avail themselves. And they were on a shelf that was accessible but not prominent. And so they often sat there. So they were moved out to the blocks, and this is one of those cases where you can have too much success. So they were moved out to the blocks where they were accessible by everyone, and they definitely circulated at a high degree, to the point that we had book club members who were dissatisfied because they couldn't get the multiple copies that they wanted. So again, we were able to supplement those by buying more copies and having more people get items that we've predetermined are really good books for book discussions. So it's kind of fun to have our assumptions tested and then tweak back and forth. We've done a lot of that this last year.
And again, back to that acronym fun, you know, we have to be nimble. We have to think about what our customers are wanting and reacting to what they are wanting, not with our with our assumptions. So it's never let's just put the books on the shelf and then sit over in the desk and read a little bit. We're hopping around there too. So because our collection, again, I'm going to do lots of statistics today. So we, our circulation was 1.2 million, a little over that, with 54,000 of those being our downloadable books that are checking out. And we have lots of visitors to the library, over 436,000 people entered and exited our doors, and they checked out lots of things of our ownership that we have. So we have 275,000 items in the library and online for us. So we also have some little rooms too called study rooms, and that was a wonderful addition that we had. Now in the previous library we had, what, 3? Well, there was 4, and then we turned 1 into an office because of space, right?
I think we had 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
3 or 4 that people could use.
And now we have 8.
Yes.
And I can tell you that down in the youth services area, they are a hopping place, both for adults and children, and groups that are teaching English or their native language, or just getting together and studying, or just kind of hanging out. And I'm assuming that's what's happening upstairs with your 3 that you have.
They are really in high demand, and they're just lovely spaces. I know that people are just thrilled when they realize that they have that alternative. They can choose to be in this open, lovely, bright area, but apart at the same time. So the study rooms are they're very They've got nice light. They're spacious. They've got good tables and chairs, comfortable seating. Wi-Fi access throughout the building, so no matter where you are, you can get online. They can plug in and charge up their cell phones and other devices while they're sitting there working. I mean, they're just really the top-notch sort of space, and they're being used throughout the day, all day.
Yeah, not only are the study rooms being used, but also our hardwired computers and our check-outable laptops and our tablets that we have offering both in the children's area and the adult services area. So in fact, we've had 42,000 computer sessions that were here in the library.
Wow.
That's quite a few. And then it looks like here that we have 32,000 hours. So not only did we have 42,000 people having sessions, we spent a lot of time on the computers. We had 717 iPad checkouts, and those are down here in the youth services area. And we had PAC logins, which is your catalog here, your work catalog here at the Ames Library. And we had almost 300,000 hits on that, or opening sessions on that. So now, we've talked a lot about, what's been going on in the last year, and I think we could probably talk a lot longer about what's been going on and all the wonderful successes that we have had. There's so much to talk about. But our time's coming to an end, but there is something that's going to be coming out in November. And Lynne, would you like to speak to that a little bit?
Sure. We've spent the last few years really focused on the building, on the facility, and providing the same level of service that we've provided for years. Now we're ready to turn our attentions to looking more carefully and closely at what can we do service-wise, program-wise, now that we're in the building and it's functioning well for us. What can we do to really make sure that we're meeting the needs of everyone in the community? So we're involved in what's called a strategic planning process, where we are gathering information and analyzing that and getting a sort of roadmap for the next few years, at least some guiding principles for the next few years. To that end, we are conducting some focus groups and a survey. The survey will be going out right away, and we're asking people to complete it and get it back to us, hopefully, if they can, by November 15th. It will close on November 30th. So if it's November 16th and you haven't completed your survey, you still have time. But we will start looking at some of the data on November 15th. It's a short survey, takes about 5 to 10 minutes to complete. There are lots of options for filling in other. We really want people's feedback. That's how we will know that we are making the right choices for the next few years in terms of how to serve people. We also want to continue to hear from people throughout all of the years that we're serving. So we're setting up focus groups with different demographic groups throughout the community, and we're interested in hearing from everyone about what their needs are community-wide, and then how the library can fit in helping solve problems or answer needs.
And enhance our collections and our offerings. So,
right, exactly.
And this is our public's opportunity to fill that survey out. And where might they, other than the website or the link that we have on our show here, where else could they go to find it easily?
We are emailing it out to everyone that we have current emails for. We're expecting a lot of bounce backs. And then they can get it from our website.
So if you're viewing this, you can access it just by copying that link down and going out, or perhaps you can check into your email and go from there. I just took it last night, and it was a very easy, I had lots of good opinions on what I would like to see the library to have.
Maybe a couple of ideas.
Yeah, just a couple of ideas. But it's good to remember that, we are just a small representation. The library staff is a small representation of our community. So this is a very important piece for you as a community member. So we serve you the way you need to be served as well. So please fill out that form and think about being on one of those focus groups. And as Lynn said, you can communicate with us anytime during the year and let us know what we're doing right, or a better way that we can enhance what we are offering. So please fill those out and become an active participant in our Ames Public Library. And until next time, keep on reading and have fun at your Ames Public Library.